What if everything you own costs 2 or 3 times more? Your phone costs $4,000. A simple pair of sneakers costs $500. Ordering something online takes 3 weeks. Electric cars are still a luxury. Solar panels are rare. Inflation never really went away. It sounds like a world that doesn't make any sense. But there is one decision made decades ago that prevented this future from becoming reality. It wasn't a war. It wasn't an invention. It wasn't even made in America. It happened thousands of miles away, and almost nobody realized its importance at the time. Because of that single choice, the modern world was born. But what if it had never happened? To understand why, we need to go back nearly 50 years. The answer begins in a country that, in the late 1970s, was still one of the poorest on Earth. In 1978, China was still a poor, isolated communist country. Most people worked in agriculture. Factories were outdated. Foreign companies stayed away. Then came one man, Deng Xiaoping. Instead of abandoning communism, he did something unexpected. He opened China's economy to foreign investment. Special economic zones appeared. Factories multiplied. Western companies rushed in. Millions of workers moved from villages to cities. It became one of the greatest economic transformations in human history. But what if Deng had never done it? But here's the part many people don't realize. China didn't become the world's factory simply because wages were low. Plenty of countries had cheap labor. What made China different was scale. Hundreds of millions of workers. Massive ports, highways, railways, entire cities built around manufacturing, suppliers, engineers, shipping companies. Everything was connected. In some regions, a product could be designed in the morning, manufactured in the afternoon, and shipped overseas the very next day. No other country had ever built an industrial ecosystem on that scale. Without it, companies couldn't simply move production somewhere else. They would have needed decades to rebuild that network. But what if Deng took a different path? Our daily life changes completely, dramatically. Imagine walking through your home. Look around. Your television, your phone charger, your headphones, your microwave, your laptop, your desk lamp, even your toothbrush. Now imagine that every one of those items costs twice as much. Some of them don't even exist. Families replace electronics less often. Businesses invest more slowly. Schools have fewer computers. Small companies struggle to buy equipment. Technology spreads across society much more slowly. Suddenly, the modern world doesn't feel quite so modern anymore. But why? Why would the modern world never become affordable? Without those reforms, China remains largely closed to the world. Factories never arrive. Companies like Apple, Nike, Dell, Sony, and thousands of others must manufacture somewhere else. Maybe in America, maybe in Europe, maybe scattered across dozens of countries. Production costs explode. Consumer prices follow. The era of affordable electronics never truly begins. Your smartphone becomes a luxury item. Computers remain expensive. Many families simply can't afford the technology we now take for granted. Global trade grows much more slowly. The internet still exists, but the devices needed to access it become far less common. The digital revolution slows down for everyone. Without China powering global manufacturing, Vietnam grows faster. India industrializes earlier. Mexico becomes a much larger manufacturing hub, but none of them can immediately replace China's enormous workforce and infrastructure. For decades, global supply chains remain fragmented. Many everyday products become scarce. Inflation stays higher around the world. Companies earn less. Innovation slows. Some technologies arrive years later than they did in our timeline. And then comes something even bigger: artificial intelligence. Today, AI depends on enormous data centers. Those data centers require millions of electronic components, servers, networking equipment, power supplies. cooling systems. Without China's manufacturing ecosystem, building AI infrastructure becomes slower and much more expensive. The AI race between the United States and China might never happen. Companies like OpenAI, Google, Meta, and countless startups would face higher costs from the very beginning. Innovation itself could slow down. Electric vehicles? Delayed. Affordable solar panels? Delayed. Consumer electronics? Much more expensive. The entire pace of globalization changes. Without becoming an economic superpower, China never gains the same global influence. Its military modernization slows. The rivalry with the United States is far less intense. Trade wars never happen. The race for artificial intelligence develops differently. The semiconductor battle looks completely different. Perhaps TikTok never exists. Perhaps BYD never challenges Tesla. Perhaps Huawei never becomes a global giant. The balance of power in the 21st century shifts dramatically. Today, almost every home contains products made in China. Phones, computers, clothing, furniture, kitchen appliances, toys. Millions of objects we barely notice. It's easy to think history is shaped only by wars, but sometimes one economic decision can quietly reshape the entire planet. If China had never opened its economy, the world wouldn't just look different. The technology in your pocket, the prices you pay, the speed of innovation, even the balance of global power, all of it could have changed because of a single decision made in 1978. But maybe not everything would be worse. Manufacturing jobs might have stayed in America and Europe much longer. Some industrial cities might never have declined. Local factories could still employ millions. Wages in manufacturing might be higher. Countries like Mexico, India, or Vietnam could have become economic superpowers decades earlier. History rarely creates only winners or only losers. So here's the question: would our world be better or worse? Let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more alternate histories that could have changed everything.